Hello everybody and welcome to what is a very, very wet Deepdale car park, but a very good night for Hull City. 3-0 winners against Preston North End, and if we're honest, that probably flattered Preston so good with the Tigers tonight. Probably their best performance, their most complete performance of the season so far. They systematically tore them to pieces. Rode their luck a little bit in the first few minutes, but as soon as City got in front with Liam Millar, they never looked back. They were quickly 2 up right on the stroke of half-time through Akin Famewo. And any hope of North End getting back in the game at the start of the second half, well, that was extinguished when Ollie McBurnie, first goal in 5 games, lovely scissor kick to make it 3-0. And chances came and chances went to add more to the scoreline. I think if it had finished 5-0, we probably could have all agreed that that was a fair reflection of the Tigers' dominance in a game. That they were just brilliant, really, from back to front. Another clean sheet. That's back-to-back away wins in the league, obviously with Southampton on Saturday, and then here at Preston, that's 3 away wins on the spin. I think that's 21 points now from 22 points from the last 9 away games, which is by far and away the best record in the Championship. What more can you say? It's turned into a special season, and they're just brilliant. I mean, the performance tonight was from back to front, from goalkeeper to McBurnie up front to a man. They were all excellent. Pandor had very little to do. What he did really well on an absolute pudding of a football pitch. Really difficult. And, you know, City settled the better of the two teams, actually, given it's Preston's pitch. They're used to playing on what is like a plough field. City they started confidently. They were knocking it around. Preston had a couple of good balls in the box, a couple of hairy moments. Again, it's a game in the Championship. You're not going to win a game without the opposition having some moments. And obviously Preston at the start of play were a point below them in the table, so they're obviously a good side. Yes, I know they lost to Derby on Saturday, but they're 6th in the table for a reason, or they were before kickoff. So this was a really difficult game, but City made them look really poor. They made Preston look a really poor team. City looked, one of the Preston guys said to me at the end of the game, that's as good as I've seen anybody this season, which is a hallmark of how good the Tigers were from back to front, as I say. Defensively, Famewo at left back, Egan and Hughes in the middle, Louis Cole right back, Amir and Regan in the middle of the park. Crooksy was exceptional again. Liam Millar, Akin was the one change for Carl Joseph, who we said the other day that he'd hurt his ankle at Southampton, so he was missing as a precaution. So Akin came in, and he was good. I mean, the assist for the first goal from Akin was brilliant. Preston had a corner, Crooks controlled it, played it out for Akin, and his first touch was, ordinarily you go, that's awful. He bangs it straight in front of him, but he's got acres of room to gallop into. Nobody can catch him, and he gets the ball across the field, absolutely nailed on, perfect for Liam Millar. And Millar at the back post, left foot, guys in the corner against his old team. And it always felt that it was the kind of night, the kind of game where whoever got the first goal would then go on and win the game. And Preston didn't look like a team that was 6th in the table. It didn't feel like it. If I'm honest, it didn't feel like 6th versus 5th. There was 850 from Hull City. The rest of the ground was, there was only, the official attendance was 14,000. They didn't feel that many in the ground. It didn't feel, from the home point of view, like they were a team in the top 6. They felt like a team. It felt like an occasion that we saw so many times last season, where the team at the bottom, they're struggling. It just felt really flat, and I just had this feeling if we could get the first goal, then it'd be a really tough night for them, and we'd go on and win the game. And as soon as Millar scored, then they scored another goal from a corner, Regan's corner. McBurnie did brilliantly to hold it up, lay it off to Famewo, who slammed it in, first goal in 3 years. Very similar goal actually to the Carl Joseph goal at Southampton, where McBurnie wins it, can't find the room to shoot, but has the presence of mind to lay it off, and Famewo on his left foot angled it in the far corner. As I say, a very similar finish to Kyle's at St Mary's at the weekend, and that was right on the cusp of half-time, 2-0, and you're thinking, that's killed any whatever Heckingbottom's half-time team talk was going to be. That's just changed it completely. And then you're starting to think, well, second half they'll come out, they'll have a go. First 10 minutes, a bit like we thought at Southampton. Whether that, then go and kill the game off. Well, there was no storm from Preston North End. City went out. Akin had got a knock. He got clattered just before half-time. I think Thompson got booked for it. He came out and almost immediately couldn't carry on. Hirakawa, I should say, came on for his debut. What an impact from the Japan international. Incredible. His first touch was to take the ball down. His second touch, crossing the box. McBurnie overhead kick, bottom corner, 3-0, and City are coasting. Goalkeeper probably should do better, Walton, but take nothing away from McBurnie, who was brilliant tonight. In his own box, he was running back, he was heading balls clear, heading corners, crosses, and I'm really pleased. He's got his, obviously, an assist on Saturday, assist tonight, and I'm really pleased for him that he got his goal, because, you know, 4 or 5 games without a goal for a striker is too long. And for McBurnie, he either wanted to get one in the onion bag, and what a goal it was as well. You know, Hirakawa was fantastic when he came on, direct, wanted to get on the ball. We said the other day that he's in the rhythm. He's been playing. I mean, it blows my mind that they've let him go, but he's in the rhythm, and he looked hungry. He was direct. They couldn't get near him, and obviously then City are in a great place. They can bring Gauhart off the bench, and great to see Joff back in the final 20 odd minutes. And you know, he went close. He could have had a couple himself. One fizzed just wide, and the goalkeeper made a bit of a scrambled save for another one. Millar should have scored. I mean, the amount of chances they had in that towards the end of the game, they could have sealed it. But yeah, I mean, phenomenal. There was a bit of a flare up at the end. Osmajic, their striker, you've probably heard all about him before. He's an absolute mentalist. He got himself sent off. He headbutted John Lundstrom in front of the dugouts. He got a straight red card from Stephen Martin. Then the bench is kicked off. I think Peter Murphy, one of their coaches, got sent off. Erbil Bozkurt, the City goalkeeping coach, got sent off. Stephen Martin, the referee, sent off Osmajic, who is he's a liability. He is. I mean, they're 3-0 down. We're in injury time at the end of the game. The game's gone. Whatever Lundstrom says to him or is irrelevant. He doesn't need to headbutt him. It's absolutely mental. Their captain, Ben Whiteman's, said he's let the team down. Heckingbottom essentially said the same thing. But you cannot be doing that. I mean, James, he's a mentalist. Absolute mentalist. You can't be doing that. He's the guy that got involved with Hannibal, didn't he? And he got was it a 10-game ban or something, earlier in the season. I feel for the Preston, I feel for the fans and the players, because it's now going to be, well, he would be suspended for 3 games, but obviously this is coming on the back of his carry-on before, so he's got a checkered past, so the FA may well throw the book at him. Speaking of throwing the book at them, that's City's 3rd time this season where they've been involved in a bit of shenanigans at the end of a game. Well, in a game, obviously the Birmingham one was in the first half, but then Stoke at the end of the game. And then tonight, so they'll get another fine coming their way. Bit unnecessary, but obviously it was caused by Osmajic. It's just completely like blowing his top. Absolutely crackers. But anyway, that's not our problem. Well, in the sense of him being sent off, our problem is the fact that City are going to get another fine. It might be, I think it was 25k for Birmingham, 50k for Stoke, and so it'll go up again for Christian. He's had an 8-game ban and got back from a 9-game ban, and now, well, I mean, like I say, it's just wild. It's just, what can you say? He's an idiot. There's no other word for it. He's let the club down tonight. But as I say, that's for them to worry about, not for us. For City, just a fantastic performance. 3 points off the top 2 now. They look a fantastic side. And the great thing about tonight is they've come to a team directly below them in the table. It was almost like a 6-pointer tonight, one of those classic 6-pointers. And they've come away and completely destroyed them and scored 3 goals, clean sheet. The only worry is injuries again. Akintola's gone off, but it'll be assessed, because I thought he was good tonight, Big Dave. Bit of cramp. Egan went off, bit of cramp, so hopefully nothing too serious there. Where else are we? Carl Joseph, yeah, so nothing he rolled his ankle at Southampton, having been clobbered a couple of times. They hope that he'll be okay for Swansea on Saturday, if not Blackburn next weekend. Again, they can afford to rest him, I think. So yeah, the news on Semi Ajayi, I don't think is going to be great. I think Ajayi is going to be out for a fair amount of time, which is a bit of a blow. We'll get that confirmed in the morning. But yeah, I think Semi Ajayi is going to be facing quite a while out with that. It's just sod's law, isn't it, that he's had a fantastic tournament with Nigeria, AFCON. They get to the 3rd and 4th place game, which for a lot of people in all tournaments is a complete waste of time. 93 minutes, he goes off and he's done his hamstring, and he's going to be out for a little while. So maybe that changes what they do in the transfer market. Obviously, they've already signed Hirakawa, who was fantastic tonight. Can't wait. I'm really looking forward to seeing more of him, aren't we all? Toby Colley is very close. That should get done before the weekend. They still want Kieran Dowell, but whether that changes, obviously, given the embargo situation, it depends what they can do in trying to get somebody out to maybe try and bring in more defensive cover. That said, you've got, I think Egan's done brilliant. Charlie Hughes is in the form of his life. Famewo's been brilliant. You know, when Jarlo comes back, hopefully at Blackburn, that gives Famewo, you've got them Famewo cover. McCarthy's done fantastic as well. So we'll have to wait and see what they can do in terms of trying to get somebody out. Casey Palmer's off to Luton, so that will enable them to bring in Collier. In terms of deregistering players, that's something they're looking at. And I know one or two fans questioned it earlier on when we put the story out this morning, but I think that it's something they don't want to have to do. If Balumi comes back in 6 weeks, then obviously they don't want to deregister Balumi. But if Balumi's, if Balumi isn't going to be back for, until, let's say, he's penciled in to come back at the end of April, well, there's no guarantees that's the case. Then he's got to get up to speed. Is it reasonable to expect Mo Balumi to come back fit for potentially for the playoffs if they're in the playoffs? I mean, they're not out the automatic picture at the minute, which I mean, pinch yourself, by the way. So you have to make a strategic decision. The same with Darko JB. If JB's 12 weeks out, realistically is he going to get back? Is he going to get back fit enough to have an impact at the end of the season? Is that a wise thing to do, to rush him back for the final game of the season against trying to bring somebody in for the final 3 months? That's what they're weighing up. Elliot Mataza was supposed to be back at the end of December. Then it's end of January. Now he's another 4 to 6 weeks away. Well, another 4 to 6 weeks away from now is the end of February. Suddenly, then you've only got 2 months of the season left. Well, what state is Mataza going to be in, having not played for a year? He's been out for a year. And we've seen with Millar and Balumi, they've come back after ACLs, then they've had hamstring injuries, and then been out. So as disappointing as it would be to not have Mataza, Balumi and JB for the final bit of the season, if they're not going to be back and not going to be able to impact the final reckoning, however that looks, whether it's a playoff campaign, trying to get in the playoffs, trying to get in the top two, whatever that looks come, the end of March, international break, after the international break in March, they've got to be sensible. So, I think it's wise they look at that. We're not saying they are going to deregister Mataza, Balumi and JB. I'm not saying they are going to do that, but I think it would be prudent to look at that if it means they then can bring in 2 or 3 players that can hit the ground running now and impact the final weeks of the season. So these are all things that the Adjon and Jared and Sergej and the coaching staff and the team behind the scenes at the MKM are looking at. There's a lot of plates spinning. They've obviously got a difficult situation in terms of bringing players in because of the restrictions. So they've got to consider all options. I think if they could just bring anybody in willy-nilly, it wouldn't so much matter. But they've got to be really strategic. And if it means doing something like that, then I think everybody would understand why. It's not ideal. We don't want to do it. But you've got to make the best decision for football's cutthroat. You can't have sentiment. And you can't, we've seen with all the injuries this season so far, every time we've thought they might be back for a certain date, it's been longer. It's always longer. And that's that's the unfortunate situation that City have been in this season. So there's no guarantee that Balumi is back for the end of March. There's no guarantee that Matazo's back in 6 weeks. So, we'll have to wait and see on that. Let's look at some questions before I get going, because it's 20 to midnight. Rich says, I would gamble on Mataza being available. Again, I understand, but that's something that they have to wrestle with. Let's have a look. What else have we got here? Is there a serious transfer interest in Hughes? Not at the minute. I mean, I've seen the rumours about Charlie Hughes. I'm not aware of that at the minute. I know Crystal Palace are obviously looking for a replacement for Mark Gahey, who they've let go to Manchester City for some small change down the back of Steve Parish's sofa. But I don't think, there's no, from what I understand at the minute, that there's nothing. That's just pure speculation and people putting 2 and 2 together and getting 56. Christian, we came to play tonight, but Preston North End tried to play the referee at times. They kept losing any momentum. They started to build because they wasn't on the same page. Worked out, yeah, they were all over the place. But City, that was because of City. They were brilliant tonight, absolutely brilliant tonight. What else have we got here? Jordan says, great win tonight. Is this the best you've seen us play at the moment? Give Sergej a new deal as soon as possible. If he can get a tune out of us with all the injuries, what could he do with a fully fit? Well, we're never going to find out. He's never going to have a fully fit squad. I think that Southampton performance under Liam was as good as I've seen a whole City team play. But in terms of a complete performance, and you know, you have to be careful not to have too much recency bias. And you know that away at Southampton under Liam when we went there and won. I remember driving back from St Mary's, 2 years ago, thinking they've got a chance here. They've got a real chance. 2 years on, the difference is the chance that City had 2 years ago was just to get in the playoffs because the top three were so far gone. It was, you were fighting for two places. You were fighting for 5th and 6th. The difference this year is the top two. You know, Coventry are obviously further clear, but that second spot is open. And you know, City's form. They've been so consistent all season. Whenever you look at every time they've lost a game, they've responded. They've got the best away record in the league. Now they've got after tonight, and they've got the best away record in the league of anybody. If they can stop, I think they've got 5 of 7 at home now over the next 7 games. I think that's not including the Chelsea game. But they've got a lot of home games, so and their pitch is going to be a problem as well. So they've got to find a way of you know, they've done well at home this year, not as well as away, but they've done really well at home compared to previous seasons. Now they've got to find, you know, a way of playing at home when teams perhaps see City now as one of the best teams in the league, which they are. I think there'll be a different approach of teams coming to the MKM, a bit like we saw with Stoke, a bit like we've seen with other teams recently, where they come and try and shut up shop, and it's up to City to try and break them down. You know, when other teams sit in a low block and frustrate them. It's away from home. It's different. I think they're suited more to play away from home. The challenge for them now is to find that balance and find that way of breaking teams down at home. But players like, you know, McBurnie's back in the goals, having Joff back's massive. You know, Hirakawa's, he looks a real gem. You just fancy they've got enough about them, but that's going to be the acid test over the next month, 6 weeks, is the games they've got coming at home, how the pitch holds up. We've got concerns about the pitch at the MKM with so many home games, plus the rugby season starting. I'm not getting into that debate, but before you shout at me about who causes more damage to the pitch, all we can agree on is there's going to be an awful lot of weather games, whether it be football or rugby league, on that pitch, and it's not in the best shape already. It's not going into, you know, that flurry of games in great shape. So that is going to present a problem, but they showed tonight on that pudding out there that they can find a way to play out even on that. So yeah, in long-winded answer to your question, Jordan, this is as much, I'm enjoying this as much as anything, because just seeing the graft, throwing their bodies in the way of blocking shots, the counter-attack, the way they're winning games, and you know the way they're playing, and that's with so many injuries, and the manager's great. Absolutely love him. Rich says, Ipswich, we've got 5 away games in February. Yeah, we've got a lot of home games. So we've got to take advantage of that. Harry, the EFL can give us as many fines as they like. Won't be getting any more off us next season once we're in the Prem. Let's hope that's the case. Adam, I think I've answered that question on players being potentially deregistered. Harry, the more Amir is getting to grips with this league, his quality is showing. Yeah, I thought he was terrific tonight. I mean, it's crass to pick out anybody. I thought they were all fantastic. Absolutely. I mean, Akintola, I know he gets a lot of stick, but he was tremendous. The way he carried that ball away, and the presence of mind. That's how many times do we see that sort of situation in play, and the ball across his paw, or it's over hit or under hit, and it just goes all wrong. He had to, on that pitch, he had to get it absolutely perfect across for Liam, and fair play for Liam to not be offside and get up with play and finish it off, and yeah, real bit of quality from Akintola. I know there's a lot of questions before kickoff that Akintola was brought into the team. Why wasn't Indala starting, or maybe why wasn't you starting? I mean, Akintola's proved why he was given the start, and fair play. And that's the pressure. He's got competition now. Joff's back, and Hughes come in, and I love watching him play. I can't believe Bristol City let him go, but that's football. Right, Sam, what's this melee about at the end? Actually, love the passion. I mean, you stick together. You can't fault that. It was Lunny again. Liam Millar said to me at the end of the game, it's probably because I don't like his face. So that was quite comical. Rich, I always mention poor officials, but he was pretty decent tonight. Not too fussy. Look, I hammered Stephen Martin at Hillsborough on Boxing Day. I thought he was arrogant and obsessed with himself. But I thought he tried to let the game flow tonight. I think Preston will say that Egan should have been given a second yellow card just before half-time, I think it was just before half-time or just after half-time, I can't remember. But Preston would probably say that Egan should have been given a second yellow. I think Preston would have one or two other decisions that they felt aggrieved with, but they've lost 3-0 at home to one of their promotion rivals, so they would. But yeah, I thought on the balance, he tried to let it flow where he could. There was a couple of decisions early on. He got wrong for me. Akintola was I think Akintola was fouled, and then he gave a foul against Coyle, which I didn't understand. But in a 96, 97 minute game, he's going to make one or two that you don't agree with. But yeah, credit to him, because as I say, I hammered him at Hills because I thought he was absolutely garbage. But tonight I thought he was much better. So yeah, Rich, agreed with your comment. Michael, hopefully that answers the question on what was the referee. You're trying to get me fined, asking me about the referee. Harry, did you get a jacket spud? No, I had a bit of chicken before the game. Rich, nice. The gaffer has lots of attacking options with Carl Joseph, plus Joffrey and you now to pick from. Yeah, he's got option. The bench looked a lot better tonight, didn't it? You've got Lundstrom, you've got you've got Joff, and then you've got the youthful exuberance of Carl McCarthy coming on. Matty Jacobs there as well, who I thought did a very, very good job at Southampton on Saturday. Harry, challenge for the lads is can they replicate that now on a consistent basis? Well, I said that earlier on, Harry, that away from home they have, and if you look at their results throughout the season, whenever you look at the form guide, whether it be last 4, last 6, last 8, 10, 12, whatever, they're always there. They're always top 4, top 6. So they are consistent, and that's why they're fourth in the table after, 26, 27 games. There's a reason why they're there, because they are consistent. I think the challenge for them now is to find that consistency at home. And I know they won, they beat West Brom, then they beat Wrexham, or beat Wrexham and beat West Brom, and then lost to Stoke. But they've got the challenge is to find that consistency at home now. If they can get 3 or 4 wins and a couple of draws at home, they've got Blackburn away next Saturday, which you would think, given Blackburn's injury trouble and their results, that is tailor-made for City to go there and win. But it's the Championship, so you take nothing for granted. But I want to see them now go and put through 2, 3, 4 performances and results at home back to back, because that's the challenge now. They can do it away from home. They are the best team in the league. The stats prove it. The results say it. They've got to go and do that at home now. Right, what else have we got? Mikey, you looks like a great loan, depending on how the rest of the season goes. Might be worth a punt in the future. Well, he's not. I mean, based on Bristol City's, they've let him go to a rival for nothing in January. I mean, that blows my mind. But he's not part of their system under their manager. So they clearly want to get him out so they can bring somebody else in. Their loss is City's gain. He looks, on the 45 minutes I've seen from him tonight, that he looks like a player that's been at the club all season. He doesn't look like a player that arrived, I saw at the training ground yesterday in his tracksuit, just meeting the players for the first time. That's the environment that they've created, so absolute credit to them for that. Harry, any recommendations of restaurants in the Wembley area? Yeah, there's a lovely Lebanese restaurant in Wembley. Search it out. Sam, easily the best complete performance. Who got man of the match? I personally gave it to McBurnie purely because of the goal he scored, his assist, the way he tore them to pieces. He holds the ball up, he chases, he gets back in his box. He's the one that's, when they're putting crosses in at free kicks and corners, he's heading the way at the near post. They had a corner just before half time and 2 corners in quick succession. He headed both from away. I can't look past McBurnie, if I'm honest. But as I say, I thought Crooks was incredible. I thought defensively they've kept a clean sheet, so you have to give the defensive unit absolute credit. You was incredible when he came on. Joff could have had a couple. Cahal just slotted in. You didn't even notice him. So yeah, as I said before, for me, given the opposition away from home on the back of a long trip down to St Mary's on Saturday, which they won, I think tonight is, for me, from back to front, the most complete performance. I mean, we've said at points for the season where they played for half here and half there. If only they could turn up for half. Yes, they rode their luck a couple of times in the first half, but every team would do at this level. You're not playing anybody away from home in this league that aren't going to create chances. And yeah, Preston, as I said before, were sixth from the table for a reason. So you have to be respectful of the opposition. So that's why, for me, it was, they were fantastic. Daniel, any interest in Panda? Not that I'm aware of at the minute. Steve says, still can't believe they got you. Well done to the brain team. Harry, what's up with Destan? He's got a knock. He had a knock on his knee, which was the problem he arrived with from Turkey. He's been back in Turkey. He's back now. It wouldn't surprise me if he was in the squad on Saturday. Let's wait and see. Sam, the press was class. It was. Paul, is you allowed to play against Bristol City? I don't believe he is, no, which will obviously be a blow. But by that point, you've got Gauhart back, and he would have played 2 or 3 games by that point. So that is like for like, and that's just one of the ways the cookie crumbles. Chris says the Tigers have got fabulous team spirit, but also have a hard edge, not a soft touch. I completely agree. Nigel, what's happening with Williams? Well, he's still at the club at the minute. He's back on the grass. It still feels to me like he's the player that they'll try and move on because he's just not playing, and his salary and squad space is valuable. But equally, if they think they can get a tune out of him and he can play, he could be useful in the back end of the season, but I have my doubts about that. So we'll see. John Paul says, how great is it to see Joff Luddy and you, not me? That did get confused in the press conference with Jakirovic when I asked him if he could still play centre-half because of Shemi's injury. And he thought that I was talking about me, but no, I was talking about him. But anyway, it does get a bit confusing. Coming off the bench, quality 90 minutes, performance at the Tigers. Yeah, as I say, you look at the bench tonight, makes a massive difference. When you get back, you get Giles back, you get Destan back, Joseph back. Suddenly, you bring 1 or 2 more, and that bench is going to look really, really strong. But given how things go, every time they get somebody back, they lose somebody. So that's just, crackers really. Christian deregistered Darko, he's not going to be back in time. Well, that's the thing, 12 weeks is a long time, and that's assuming he comes back, and then he's been out for 3 months, 2 months, 3 months. It's hard to expect him to feature much before the end of the season, as sad as that is. Christian, the pitch looked worse than ours. It is, but I dread to think what ours is going to look like in a couple of weeks. Another comment there for the pitch. Stephen, one of the best performances I've seen in 56 years of supporting them. A delight to be there. Well, Steve, if you were there and you can say that, then who am I to argue? Because, that was, like I say, from back to front, absolutely. Sam McBurnie's goal, yeah, brilliant, absolutely brilliant goal. I'm just so pleased for Ollie. I think we're going to be speaking to him on Thursday, so I can't wait. I won't be sleeping. I'll be too excited because I love him. Harley, I'm still at Preston. I am. You can see Deepdale in the background there, but I had to get out because they were closing up. As much as I enjoyed being at Deepdale tonight, I don't want to be here all night. But I've got a couple of hours journey home. So I need to get back. Yes, Christian Panda was lucky with the back pass. You're right, that was the other decision that I forgot about when I said that there was a couple of decisions that Preston might feel aggrieved about. Yeah, the one from Hughes. Bit surprised that he didn't give that, but there we go. We take your look. Right, what have we got? Mally says we could have had another 3. Don't disagree. The gaffer said that. Jack says this is the result we expected Wednesday on Boxing Day. Yeah, Boxing Day, it was absolutely. Jack says before Saturday they've been happy with 1 point, but to get 6 is amazing. I think, at the start of the game today, I thought if we get 4 points from these 2 would have been a tremendous return, but to get 6, well, you literally can't ask for any more, can you? Harry, Famewo's quad must be all right. Absolute thunder, you know what. Yeah, Famewo was brilliant. That finish was absolutely top draw. I mean, another example of a player that's not played much, coming in, slotting in. And he's not Giles, of course, but he's done brilliantly. He's done so well. So hopefully he stays fit. What else have we got? Michael, is there a podcast this week? I'm hoping we'll have one tomorrow to round up the 2 games. I just need to hopefully get some sleep tonight or tomorrow, whatever day it is today, and get the gang together. But hopefully we'll have something. I can't promise it'll be any more coherent than this absolute dross that you listen to right now, but I'll do my best. Steve, any progress on Collier? Hoping before the end of the week, and Dow, we'll have to wait and see, but they still want him. Gilo back for Saturday? I don't think so. Lee, more likely Blackburn, but we'll have to wait and see. You just never know. Jordan, was Akin there tonight? He wasn't. I spoke to him before. He phoned me before the game and said he wasn't going to be there, but he would be watching on. So no doubt me and him will chat probably on the way home and have a feel for how he's feeling about tonight. But I know he was absolutely delighted with what happened on Saturday. He wasn't there either, but he will be at the game on Saturday. And credit to the club as well for giving away free tickets to the Swansea game to loads of good causes. So if you've not seen that and you think you might be eligible, get on the Tigers website and have a look to find out how you can get them. Matthew, how bad's Ajay's injury? I'm not quite sure at this stage. My gut feeling is it's not good news, but we'll wait and see. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, Nathan, another comment on the mentalist that is Asmaya, crazy. Harley, what do you think about Palmer's loan? Thought he played well. I like Casey, but let's be honest, he's flattered to deceive since he's been at the club. I think he's got 1 goal and 1 assist or something in 37 appearances, I think it is. I'd expect more from a player like Casey. And you see you come on tonight, his first touch is to control, his second touch he puts the assist in for McBurnie. I just don't see how he fits in, and I think the output has got to be more. So, look, I like Casey, but I think it's probably best for everybody that he goes and tries to play regularly, and Luton in the race for the League One playoffs is probably a good move for him. Christian, thanks very much. Phil Palmer needs to move to get his place at the World Cup. Yeah, I mean, he's just not going to play regularly here, and if they bring in Dowell, he's further down the pecking order. So yeah, and he's got, if they are, I mean, they're not at the World Cup yet, they've got a big playoff, haven't they, coming up, which they need to win, having already blown the first chance. Phil, be sad to see Mo and Mataza be deregistered, but look, football is football. It's ruthless, and City have got a job to do, and they can't rely on 2 players that might not feature again this season. They may do, and that's something that with the staff behind the scenes, the doctors, the medical staff, the players, they'll all have to make a collective decision, but I'm sure they'll make the right decision for the benefit of the football club. Right. Harry, winger, no, the winger is you. They haven't got the space, they haven't got the manoeuvrability, but what I would say, I'll caveat that with, it's Akin, it's Hull City, and it's the final couple of weeks of the window, so you rule nothing out. Right. Another credit for Steve, credits McCarthy, looks a player, yeah, absolutely. Harry, it's clear that Jakirovic has learned a lot from the first half of the season. Tactically, he's yeah, absolutely, and he's always going to make mistakes. He's a manager, they all do. But what I love about him, he learns. He's learning quickly, and he's adapting. And he's, as I say, the team performance tonight was fantastic. Harley, nothing about McCarthy. They ain't going to let him go. And Rich, one last point, much improved first half performance now. Yeah, right, folks, it's 2 minutes to midnight. Long journey home in the wet. I need to go get some coffee in me as well. Right, that's it from here at Deepdale. A fantastic night for Hull City. 3-0 win away at Preston. Their 3rd away win on the spin. I think that's now 4 wins and a draw in the last 5 on the road. City closing in on that top 2, firmly in the top 6, with a home game to come on Saturday against Swansea City. We'll hopefully have a podcast before the game against the Swans. So if you've got any questions, at the 1904 Club on Twitter. If you're still travelling home from Swansea, have a safe journey, but you were well rewarded with a fantastic performance from everybody in black and amber tonight. We will see you again soon. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for watching, as always. And we will see you again soon. Up those Tigers.